Hi guys, it's Mrs. Adkins, and I am creating this video to help you understand the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, the Pythagorean theorem is all based around triangles. Okay, there are three sides to a triangle. Okay, you have side A, side B, and C. A and B are called legs. Okay, C is called the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse. All right. A and B are interchangeable. It does not matter which side A is or B is. But A and B are always the shortest two sides. C is always the longest side. It is always the longest. So if I'm given the numbers 4, 6, and 8, I know that 8 is going to be my hypotenuse because it is the longest or the biggest number. Okay? So, erase that real quick. All right. What this formula says that if I take this side and I make a square of it, and I take this side and I make a square of it, it will equal this side when I make a square of this. Okay? So that's where your a squared comes in, and your b squared comes in, and your c squared comes in. Okay? So let's do an example. There's three types of basic problems that you need to understand when working the Pythagorean theorem. The first one is just being able to determine if A and B are equal to C. That's when you're given a triangle. My triangles are not going to be perfect, and that's okay. And you're given all three sides. Again, I have to know which side is A, which one is a leg, which one is a leg, and which one is the hypotenuse. And I always know the biggest number is going to be my hypotenuse. So I'm going to say 6 squared plus 8 squared is going to be equal to 9 squared. Okay, 6 squared is 36 because 6 times 6 is 36. 8 times 8 is 64. And 9 times 9 is 81. So now I need to add these two. 64 and 36 is equal to 100. Does 100 equal 81? No. So this is not the Pythagorean theorem. I cannot say that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay? Because a squared plus b squared does not equal my c squared. All right, let's try another one of those. So again, you have a triangle, and you have your two sides. Three sides. Okay? So again, I'm going to take 5 squared plus 12 squared equals 13 squared, because 13 is bigger than any other number, so that's always my c. I'm going to have 25, because 5 times 5 is 25. 12 times 12 is 144. And 13 squared is 169. So now you add 25 and 44, and you get 169. And 169 equals 169, so I would say yes. A squared plus b squared does equal a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay? All right. So moving along, I'm going to do the next type of equation. Okay, so the next type of equation is where you are missing a side length. Okay? For these problems, I'm going to give you the two legs. So I'm going to give you leg A is 4 and leg B is 8. And I need to find C. So again, I'm going to take 4 squared plus 8 squared, and it's going to equal c squared. 4 squared is 16. 8 squared is 64. And that's going to equal c squared. Again, I'm going to add these two up, and I get 80. And 80 is going to be equal to c squared. But you're not done at this point, because if I said that c squared is equal to 80, does 80 make sense with these numbers? Am I going to have a side of a 4, a side that's 8, and one side that's 80? That does not make sense at all. Okay, using your number sense is extremely important. You have to follow through at the very last step. Take the square root of 80. Remember, that's a square root. This is not a division sign. Okay, in your calculator, this is where you need to put the second button. Or let's see here, can I get my calculator to come up? On your calculator, you hit, hold on. No, okay. Type in 80 and then your square root, and it comes up 8.9. Remember, you also have to take the square root of this. Remember, squaring and square root are opposites, so they cancel each other out. So you have c is going to be approximately 8.9, which again, knowing my number sense, and 8.9 makes sense with 4 and 8. All right, let's do another one. Okay, for this triangle, I'm going to have A is 3 and B is 6. And I've got to find what my C is. So 3 squared plus 6 squared is going to be equal to C squared. 3 times 3 is 9. 6 times 6 is 36. 9 plus 36 is 45. And that's going to equal C squared. Again, 3, 6, and 45 don't make sense. Take the square root of it. Again, get your calculator out. Clear mine out here. Type in 45, hit your x squared, and you're going to get 66.7. Okay, again, square root, square. Cancel each other out. So this is going to be approximately. Okay, so C is approximately, remember, approximately is about 6.7. All right, here we go. The third type of problem that you're going to encounter is where you are given a leg, and I'm going to say this is 10. I'm going to say A is 10. I'm not going to know what B is. I got to find that one. But I know that C is 20. Okay, same equation. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay, 10 times 10 is 100 plus B squared. 20 times 20. Again, if you don't know it, get your calculator out, hit 20 and your x squared. And it tells you it's 400. You can use your calculator for any part of this, guys. In fact, you should be using your calculator for part of this. Okay, so I have 100 plus b squared equals 400. Guys, simple one-step equation here. I'm going to take 100, and I'm going to subtract it from both sides. That's gone, and you're left with b squared equals 300. Final step is to do what, guys? Take the square root of both sides. Again, get your calculator out, type in 300, hit your square root, and you're going to have b is equal to 17.3. Not equal, approximate. Okay, because we had to round it. Now, here's my next question to double check my work. Is 17 smaller than C? Okay, because if you're finding a leg, it always has to be smaller than what that C is. If it is, then it makes sense. If your number's greater, then you made a mistake somewhere. All right, last problem. All right, so for this one, I have 5 for my A. I don't know what B is. And 7 is my C. So again, I have 5 squared plus B squared equals 35. You know what? Let's mix this up a little bit because it's going to be the same regardless of how you do it. So let's say that this is B and I'm trying to find A. So I have A squared plus my B squared is going to equal my C squared. Again, A squared plus 5 times 5 is 25 equals, oop, I put down 35. I don't know why I did that. 7 squared. Oh, I multiplied 5 times 7. That's how I got that one. I made a mistake. All right, 7 times 7 is 49. Again, one-step equation here, guys. Subtract 25 from both sides. That cancels out. You have A squared. It's going to be equal to 49 minus 25 is going to be 24. 24 is, I know that 7 is my C, so 24 does not make sense there. It's too big. That tells me I didn't do something. Got to come down, finish it out, take the square root of A. Again, those cancel each other out. A is going to be approximately, get your calculator. So I'm going to take 24, my square root, and it's going to be approximately, I'm going to round that last part up to 4.9. And again, 4 is smaller than 7, so that makes sense for an A. Or if this was still B, that would make sense for a B. That is the basics of the Pythagorean theorem. Those are the 3 types of problems that you're going to run into. Okay, I will post another video that talks about this week's lessons and the Pythagorean theorem later on, but I want to make sure that you're watching the videos and you're trying to do the work. But this should, if you are stuck on last week's work, this should help you. If you have any questions, email me.